changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration to make you simply happy. It's Thoughtful Thursday, and today I want to talk about grandmothers and the way that they give us such unconditional love and support. I remember when my grandmother died many years ago, one of the things that I knew I was going to miss the most was that unconditional love and support. And it was mutual. She could do no wrong in my eyes either. I remember delivering a eulogy at her funeral and saying that I always knew I could depend on her no matter what. I remember telling the audience that if I had told my grandmother I was a bank robber, she would have just told me that she was sure I was a really good bank robber. Anyway, we get a lot of stories about this wonderful aspect of grandmothers, and I want to share one from our newest book for mothers and grandmothers, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Best Mom Ever. So this story starts with Alyssa Bainey crying while her grandmother comforts her. And her grandmother is saying, "I don't think you chose this, honey." Alyssa says her grandmother is rough around the edges, brash, and painfully honest. She curses more than most teenagers, and she can outdrink a 21-year-old. She's also loud, happy, always laughing, and she's intense about everything, good and bad. Alyssa says she respects her grandmother more than anyone else in her life, and therefore she doesn't like to disappoint her, which made this conversation especially hard. Now Alyssa's grandmother was asking her questions. "I met her, didn't I?" "Yeah," Alyssa said. She had met her the other day, that friend. Alyssa waited for the inevitable questions, the ones she had gotten from other people. Was it a phase? What about when you had all those boyfriends? Were you faking it before? What about God? But her grandmother didn't ask those questions. Instead, she said, "Well, like I said, I don't think you chose this. Nobody chooses to make their life more difficult." Alyssa told her that not everybody was as accepting as she was. And her grandmother said, "I will always love you. I accept you, and I would love to meet her again." That was a huge relief for Alyssa. This was the first relative who accepted her for who she was, not bringing up politics or religion or family values. In the months to come, the rest of the family followed her grandmother's lead. Basically, if Grandma was okay with it, then so were they. Not only was Alyssa relieved, but she was able to stop feeling guilty for being who she was. She was able to resume her growth, develop her self-confidence, realize her true potential. She ended up marrying that friend, Courtney, and you can see an article about them online in Forbes magazine. Alyssa says she will always view her grandmother as a hidden hero, saying, "Heroes don't always wear capes or uniforms. They don't always make their presence known. Sometimes the best heroes hide in the corners of our hearts and only come forward when we need them the most." So if you're lucky enough to still have a grandmother in your life, let her know how you feel. I don't think I ever said it outright to mine, but I know that she knew it. You could even give your grandma one of our books for Mother's Day, not to state the obvious or anything. I'm Amy Newmark. Thanks for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. If you want to read a few sample stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul, Best Mom Ever, sign up for our free daily newsletter on our website, chickensoup.com. We'll be sending out stories from the book. And if you want to read the whole book, you'll find it at Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Costco Canada, Indigo, Amazon, and wherever else books are sold in the U.S. and Canada. Come back tomorrow for Friend Friday and meet one of the best-known teachers in America, Alex Kajatani. He's a fascinating guy who taught math in a whole new way in a tough high school by rapping with the kids. He ended up being named California Teacher of the Year, and he was a finalist for National Teacher of the Year. And he also works with us on our bullying prevention program. He also co-authored our new book for teachers that came out on April 18th. We'll talk about teacher morale and how to get teachers inspired again.